All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to our January open house hosted by the Office of Procurement, Montgomery County. Today's topic will be focused on the Montgomery County's local small business and local programs, as well as the minority female disabled persons owned business program. We have two speakers. The first one will be Michael Brown. He is our local business program manager. And the second one will be Alvin Boss. He is our minority female disabled business program specialist. We also call that program MFD if we are starting to use the acronyms. So this meeting is being recorded, just so you understand. And during the meeting, please keep yourself muted. And if you do have questions, you're welcome to type your question into the chat box. We will hold questions until the end of each presenter, and as well as at the very end of the session today. The recording and the slides will be available on our website for you to review and download for later times. So let's welcome Mr. Michael Brown. He is our local business program manager. Michael, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Grace. And good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Brown, and I manage the local business programs here in Montgomery County with the Office of Procurement, with the Division of Business Relations and Compliance. This morning, I'm going to take you guys through all of the local offerings that we have here in Montgomery County for local vendors that register with us, and kind of explain each program. It's sort of a lot because they kind of all seem to blend together and they sound alike, but they are different and they have different functions and objectives. And that's what I hope to get clear today, in my presentation, to clearly explain each program and let you guys know what the benefits are to each. But to get started here, if you do plan on doing business with Montgomery County, the very first step that all vendors should take is being registered as a vendor in our database. And the first slide here shows the web address for that, www.mcipcc.net. That's the very first step for anybody who wants to do business with Montgomery County. There you're going to identify who you are, exactly what services or goods that you provide based on your commodity codes.
Stop it.
In addition to that, that is also the first opportunity, and the system will notice by the address that you put into there when you register if you are local to Montgomery County, and you may get a prompt that says, hey, you may qualify as a local small business. Click this button to proceed to the application to find out more information to see if you meet the qualifications. Like I said, that will happen. That will give you an opportunity to follow those prompts, and that's what you want to do if you want to be certified or have that additional thing showing your profile that you are certified, as whether you're local small. Al's going to talk later about MFD. At that point is where you would identify yourselves. A lot of times there is some confusion where we have LSBRP opportunity set aside, and there's local vendors, and they get confused and get caught up in the fact that I am registered as a vendor in your database, so I don't understand why you're sending me a letter saying I'm not in compliance. Just being registered in the system is not what we're talking about. You need to actually take the additional step of, under the business classification section, you need to actually submit applications to become a local small business or a local business or a minority business. You need to take the additional step. So understand that it's a two-step process. Just being registered, that's for any and everybody who wants to do business with Montgomery County. And also another question that we get, I'm not local to Montgomery County. Can I still do business with Montgomery County? Absolutely. Absolutely. You just, you're registered, you're in our system. You just won't qualify for any of the local preferences or anything that to have in your profile, but you still definitely can do business with Montgomery County. That we do not reserve all of our stuff to only the local vendors. So like I said, it's just a basic who you are, what you do, put your commodity codes down. And, and if you are local, you want to take the additional step of also submitting those applications so that you can participate in the benefits that come along with being local. So we can move on to the second slide. Okay, and here are the three programs that I'm going to talk about today. The first one is our local small business reserve program. The second one I'm going to go through is the local business preference program, and then finally local business subcontracting. And you can see they all sound very similar, but like I say, each one has a separate function, and that's what I'm going to hopefully untangle today for you guys, so you have a better understanding of these programs and what each one is designed to do. So let's talk about the LSBRP. This is our main, I guess you could say, our main flagship program that we have here. And basically LSBRP is a set-aside program, and we ask that each county department spends 25% of their available procurement budget with local small businesses, okay? And they can go about that in one of two ways. The first way is obviously with solicitations that they're going to put out. You can reserve it under local small business, and that way the dollar value that results from that contract is counted toward your 25%. Also, in addition to that, if the departments are making smaller purchases under $10,000, there's DPOs, direct purchase orders, where they can, if it's something small, like I said, they're spending less than $10,000, they can look in our database and, depending on the commodity code, say for instance, that we're talking about catering, where, you're just looking at maybe spending $2,000-3,000 for a small event. They can go in the database, put down the commodity code for catering, and also local small businesses that are registered under catering, get that list of vendors. And, I think they have to pick 3 and get invoices, and then they can go with the, whomever they choose that gives them the best deal. So that is a way to get business. If you are a true small business and you're just kind of getting started, you may not be ready to truly compete for, the larger solicitations that come out. You can still do business, like I say, from a direct purchase order standpoint. Whereas it is somewhat difficult. Like I said, it all depends on what the department needs at that time. Like I said, if they're having an event, or say for instance, they're having a some type of fair or something like that, where they're bringing vendors in for the smaller services that they may want, like I said, under 10,000. So that's why it's important to be designated as local small business, because departments, you're going to stick out more so than a vendor that's just in there that is not certified, because the department isn't going to get credit toward that 25%. So they're always looking to make sure that any dollars that they spend, it's helping them reach that 25% goal. So that's a benefit of being certified in the system. But back to LSBRP, like I said, it's a set aside program. So when we do set aside opportunities for local small businesses, obviously only those vendors who are certified in our database, or at least have your application submitted by closing time of the solicitation, are those the ones who can actually bid on it. The day that the solicitation closes, the department or the procurement specialist in-house is going to give me a list of everyone who responded, and I'm simply going to go through the database and check and see if you're one certified, or you at least have your application submitted, like I said earlier. If that is not the case, then you will get an email from me, unfortunately, saying that you have been removed from consideration for the opportunity. So if you do see something that's reserved, you want to make sure that you take the time, you go into the database, and you are properly registered with local small business. So that way you will, at a very minimum, have your response evaluated and go through that process. But I want to talk a little bit about qualifications for local small business. So the first one is obviously that you must be in Montgomery County. Principal place of business has to be in the county, okay? And we define that as you have a physical location, just one, it's inside the county, or maybe you have physical locations inside and outside of Montgomery County. The Montgomery County location has to house more than 50% of your employees, or it must generate more than 50% of the revenue company-wide in order to qualify. In addition to being local, once we square that piece away, we have employee thresholds and we also have revenue thresholds based on the type of business that you are. So for example, if you are a service-related business, then the employee threshold is 100 employees that you cannot exceed. But if you do have more than 100 employees, then we need to take a look at your revenue. Revenue cannot exceed $10 million on average over the previous 3 years in order to qualify. And so it's one or the other on that. So for example, if you have 25 employees, so you're under that 100 employee threshold, revenues wise, you could be up $20-30 million in revenue and still qualify as a local small business. So it's just one or the other, then flip flop the other way, it would be the same. So you would have to meet one of those on the employee or the revenue threshold in order to qualify. So in addition to that, you have to be independently owned and operated. You cannot be a subsidiary. It's just an awesome opportunity for new businesses that are looking to, get work with the county and compete, because you're only competing against other local small businesses is what the deal is with that. So that's kind of the beauty. But you heard me say the revenue threshold. So some of these companies, even though they are considered small businesses, they're going to be some rather large companies or whatever. So you're still going to have to compete and come with the best product or the presentation or whatever we're looking for. You're going to have to compete. And I think I want to point that out because a lot of people, they sometimes think, well, Mr. Brown, I've done everything that you've said. I've registered correctly. I've done this, and I've got my certification, and I still haven't gotten a contract from Montgomery County. And it's a two-way street. I can register you. I can put you in line to win a contract, to do everything as far as the compliance piece. But the other piece of it is that vendors have to compete. You have to compete. You have to give the best product and give the best presentation to the department for the goods or services that we're looking for. So, I'm willing to be a partner in this and to get you to a place where, ultimately we can, have success. You can win a county contract, but I do understand that it is a competitive process. I'm not guaranteeing anything if you follow all these steps and get registered. That does not guarantee a contract's going to fall on your lap. You have to compete. So and I'm sure everyone understands that, but I just like to put it out because I think sometimes it gets buried and then folks feel like, they haven't gotten a fair shot. But I'm selling opportunity here. I'm not guaranteeing anything. But local small business, getting back to it, this program, like I said, as far as the qualifying, I just want to dig deeper into that. Once you do the application, the documents that we are going to request to verify your status is, as far as the revenue, we're looking at the most recent 3 years of federal taxes. Okay. In that, we are making sure that, like I said, you're under that $10 million threshold if you are a service-related business. A lot of questions that I get with calls is that, hey, Mr. Brown, I've only been in business for a year. I don't have any taxes to submit, or we've been in business for a year, but we haven't brought any revenue. Does that disqualify me? No, it doesn't. I mean, if you are just starting the business when you apply, or you've only been up and going for 6 months, you have no tax documents, we're just asking for a projection for that first year of what the revenue is. So there's no minimum amount of revenue that you have to have in order to qualify. If you're just starting and revenue is zero, then that's fine. That's what you would put on the documents and submit to us. So that is kind of local small business in a nutshell. It's so broad. I'm trying to think of scenarios now, but if there are any questions in regards to local small business, I guess we can kind of go over them now, just so we don't get, confused later when we talk about the different programs. So I'll open it up right now for LSBRP specific questions.
Sorry, Mr. Brown, I just came in. So how do you register?
Okay. The register is the first step. We have our central vendor registration. It's up there right now, to www.mcipcc.net. So that's the very first step you will go. You're gonna go through the basic registration first, where you identify who you are, what you do, your business information, where you're located, all that. And then you have to take the additional step under the business classification section and actually submit the LSBRP application. And it'll probably take you about 15 minutes, but it's pretty straightforward. Who you are, like I said, the services you provide, number of employees that you have, your revenue, things of that nature. And like once you fill out that application, within a few days, you'll get an automated letter from me, and it will be requesting the documentation to support what you put on that application. So that is the application process, is how you get certified.
Michael, there's two questions in the chat box.
Okay.
Number one, if under $10 million, do we have to submit our federal taxes? If you're under $10 million? Yeah.
Yeah, we would need to verify that. If employee wise, if you're under 100 employees, then I would say there's really no need to submit the tax documents, because the revenue doesn't matter at that point. But we would need to see the tax documents if there is no other documentation provided to show that you're under that the threshold for the employees.
A second question is, can the business be a sole proprietorship?
Yes, that's acceptable. And also another question I get is that, Mr. Brown, I'm just starting out and I'm in consulting and I have a home office. Is that acceptable? We do accept home offices, okay? Where it does get tricky, if you are, some businesses, say for instance, they're registered and their physical location is in DC. However, the owner of the company lives in Montgomery County and they have a home office. That's where it can kind of get tricky, and a lot of supporting documentation is going to have to be provided. But if you are just a straight up company, you're just kind of getting started, or you've been going for some years and you are in Montgomery County and your only location is a home office, we do accept that. That is acceptable.
A follow-up question on that is, if it's a sole proprietor, then do we have to submit the personal tax?
You would have to submit the Schedule C of your personal taxes that speaks to the business income.
Okay. One more question. I think I've already registered. I have a CVRS vendor number and a VIN number. Is that the portal that I'm already registered?
Yeah. That means that you are already registered in CVRS as a vendor. That does not mean that you are properly certified for LSBRP or being local. So if that's the case, and then easy way to check is to log into the portal. Go there, put the vendor ID number in there and the VIN. When you first screen you're going to come up with is going to be like a summary screen. It's going to have company information. You want to scroll down to business classification. If you are certified as local or minority or anything like that, it's going to show up under business classification. So if you don't see LSBRP or LBPP or MFD with a clear, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank, expiration date. It should show an expiration date. It should show when you were certified, and then it will show when that certification expires. So that's a quick way to go ahead and check and see what your status is.
Okay, let's move on to the next program. Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, this is Bernard at Maroon Software. I have a question for Mr. Brown. What you're talking about right now is just as a local business, but you can
No,
still
that's local small business.
local small business, but you
Correct.
can still register with Montgomery County if you're not a local business. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Second question, competing. Does the local business get preference over non-local when we're competing?
Yeah, that's the second program I'm going to talk about now with the local preference. But anything that comes out that's reserved under local small business, everybody who's responding is going to be local. So there is no local preference that we apply to reserved opportunities.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, moving on now. We're talking about local business preference. Okay, and basically what this is a local preference program. And if you are a Montgomery County-based business, you will receive an extra 10% preference points on proposals. So if we're talking about an RFP, you are looking at 10 points of the 10% of the evaluation criteria. So if it's totals 100 points, then 10 points will be set aside strictly on your being certified as a local vendor. If we're talking about an IFB, invitation for bid, your bid will be discounted by 10%, but we do have a $200,000 ceiling on that. Okay, and when I say the bid will be discounted, it's discounted for purposes of selecting a winner. But those are the preferences that we're giving to local vendors. So this is strictly local here. Now, how this comes into play is if we have a solicitation out and it's not reserved under local small business where only local folks can bid on it. This is a regular solicitation open to any and everybody from wherever you may be. But if you are local, like I said, we're going to try to give you some type of preference, some type of leg up from the average vendor who isn't from Montgomery County. And that's where we get this 10%. So being certified as local is strictly based on your location. We do not take into consideration the number of employees that you have or the revenue. If your situation is different, we may have to drill down to that, but for the most part, it's strictly based on you being located in Montgomery County. So this is for the larger companies who in the past may have looked at LSBRP and said, oh, we're not under that $10 million revenue, or we got 20 million in revenue coming in and we got 300 employees. So we're not local small. We can't qualify for that. So you've kind of not paid attention to that. Now that we have the local certification in place, you could qualify being you could be as big as you want, you can make as much money as you want, but as long as your principal place of business is located here in Montgomery County, you can be certified as being a local vendor and you will get those preference points on the non-reserved opportunities. And when you're doing that initial application in the vendor database that we just talked about, I said that, based on your address, it will catch it and prompt and say, hey, you may, qualify for local small business. The initial application process, it gathers your basic information first, and then you kind of come to like a fork in the road and it asks you if you want to be certified as a local small business or if you just want to be certified as local. So if you are a larger company, you may want to go just the local route because you know that you don't meet the qualifications of being local small. So that way you will identify and say, hey, I just want to be, get the local certification. But if you are small enough and you are, well, no, I'm not going to say small, but if you do meet the thresholds as far as employee and revenue, you want to go LSBRP. And once you go LSBRP, you automatically get the local too. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. So I always tell vendors that if you do meet the qualifications of local small, then always go that route because you're going to get the local certification right along with it. So that 10%, like I say, it could make the difference. And I always, for those, I've seen some familiar faces. I'm sure you've all been to pre-bids, and I do a little 5-minute spiel. If it's non-local and it's just preference, I'll in the pre-submission conference, we look at the evaluation criteria. You can see what points are set aside. And I strongly encourage folks to make sure that they are in compliance. Reach out to me, talk to me, give me a call if you want to find out what your status is. But in order to get this preference and these points, you have to make sure that you're certified in our database, or at least have your application prior to the solicitation closing. If it closes and, then, the next day you get that email from me, and then you call and say, oh, well, I was trying to do this and that, and I got into the system and I wasn't sure. And after it closes is not the time to see where you stand. Like the question I had a few minutes ago about, how do I know I'm registered? I got this vendor ID. Log into that system, see where you're at. See, like I said, it'll clearly say under business classification where you stand. Okay, and that's the first step. You want to make sure that you are in compliance. If you see something out there that you plan on responding to, and you see, all right, there's 10 points or whatever, give me a call. Shoot me an email. Hey, Mr. Brown, I'm registered. I just want to make sure I'm in compliance with the preference. And I can check really quick and let you know where you stand. But it's straightforward. It's 10% of the evaluation criteria, and like I said, it's just based on you being in Montgomery County. And I'm really going to vet you and make sure that that's the case. If we're not going to accept you going out and getting a virtual office, for 1 month for $49 from the Regises of the world just to say that you're in Montgomery County. I'm really going to look and make sure that you truly are a Montgomery County based company, that you aren't just, like I say, getting an office for the purposes of responding to something and getting preference points. So if you are really in Montgomery County, I strongly encourage you to take advantage of this preference points program. And if you aren't, vice versa, please don't waste your time and resources, because you're in the end, if you're truly not from Montgomery County, I'm going to find it out. Okay, and it's just going to be a waste of time, and that time could be better suited on putting forth a better response on a solicitation. But that is the local preference. And like I say, the way that it differs from LSBRP is strictly based on you being located in Montgomery County. It does not apply to any set aside solicitations. You are going to be competing against folks from any and everywhere, but we are going to give you 10% of the evaluation criteria or a 10% discount on your bid. So that is the preference program. Are there any questions in regards to preference? Okay, looks like we're squared away.
Sorry, Michael, we have one. I answered some of the questions. If you still need more answer, please speak up. But there is one in the chat box. Let's see if Michael can answer it. Is the 200K ceiling on the 10% discount a max discount of 200K, or does the bid have to have a total of below 200K to receive any discount?
No. It's a 10% discount regardless of the bid amount. It's 10%. But say, for instance, if we're talking about a $3 million bid, okay, and if we go 10% on that, you're looking at $300,000 as a discount. Then at that point, we would say you've gone past that 200K ceiling. So that in that scenario, 200K would be the discount applied. So we can't go any higher than that, is how that typically plays out, if that answers the question.
John, let us know if you still need more details on that.
No, that clarified it. Thank you.
All right. Okay. And the last program that we're talking about is the local small business subcontracting program. Okay. And what this is it's a subcontracting program where it applies to the larger contracts that we have in Montgomery County that are valued at $10 million or above. And they're typically the larger construction contracts, but there are a few others that meet that qualification of being $10 million or above. And what this is simply asking is that whoever the prime vendor is, so there are no evaluation, well, there could be evaluation points in that, I'll take that back. But basically, once we have a proposed awardee, solicitation has been out on the street, folks have responded, the departments have done their evaluations, and internally we have a a proposed awardee. Prior to them signing any contracts, we are going to ask them to reach a 10% goal of subcontracting with local vendors, certified local vendors. So the same thing I talked about, the folks with the preference. So if you are certified in the database as being local, we want these prime vendors, if they are not from Montgomery County, okay, say it's a company out of Northern Virginia who's a proposed awardee on a solicitation. Prior to them signing a contract, we're going to approach them and say, hey, we need you to subcontract with a local vendor for 10% of the dollar value of the contract. If you have problems identifying some of these folks or whatever, I'll be more than happy to get you a list of folks you can call. But 10% is our goal. But if you are a local vendor already and you are certified as local, you meet this 10% goal on your own. So there is no need for you to go out and do anything additional. You would meet the 10% on your own. So this really applies to vendors on the larger contracts who are not from Montgomery County, that we're asking them to subcontract with local folks with a goal of 10%. Sometimes it's kind of hard depending on what the services or the goods we're looking for to reach that 10%. So we do allow for partial waivers depending. So if a company is really strapped and they've really given a good effort and tried, but they can only come up with 5%, sometimes I will provide a partial waiver to let that contract move forward and get signed. But this is yet another opportunity that Montgomery County is looking out for the local folks. So we're saying, hey, if a local guy doesn't win this contract, it's a larger contract. There should be a lot of pieces of the pie to go around or whatever. We're asking for 10% with local folks. So that is the local subcontract. And like on the average year, there's less than 10 contracts that meet this qualification or whatever. So it's not something that we deal with often, but it's something that you can consider. If you are a small company, you may want to go to some of these pre-submission conferences for the larger contracts, the larger construction contracts, and look at the solicitation and see if there's a small piece in there that maybe you can carve out for yourself. And if you are certified local, that gives you an approach. You can approach the prime and say, hey, I see that you're a prime, you're going to be bidding on this. I'm local to Montgomery County. This contract is, estimated to be 15 million. So, you are going to have to meet this 10% goal. I'm here, I provide these services, and network, start to build a relationship and understand that you aren't going to bid as a prime on this, but there may be a piece that you can carve out for yourself and, have an opportunity. So that is the local small business subcontracting program. And like I said, all three of these are different and they come in at different phases in the contracting that we do through Montgomery County. So I hope I was able to kind of clear this up, but are there any questions that you may have in regards to the subcontracting program?
Yes, we have one question regarding
Sure.
this. Daniel asked, so in essence, this could look like a collaboration between a larger and a smaller company. Is that correct?
Yeah. You would be a subcontractor to a larger company. You could get that collaboration early on or whatever. Like I say, approach them early on, or maybe it's something later down the line. Like I say, they may approach me and say, hey, can you give me a list of folks to work with? So yeah, it would be a prime and subcontracting relationship.
And another question, this is regarding MCATs. Hold on, let me open this up. Has the MCATs 3 been awarded? If so, where can we find the awardees? If not, is there an estimated date when the awardees will be selected?
Okay.
Michael, if you don't know off your
Yeah,
head.
I'm not sure if we have one of the procurement specialists online. I'm not sure if Mary's here or someone who may know about that particular solicitation.
Yeah, I'm trying to look if.
Yeah, Mary's off today, but I will see if I can find that information out before the end of today's open house, and I will put it in the chat.
Thank you,
Thank
Karen.
you, Karen.
Sure, you're welcome.
I have someone asked about the pre-submission conferences. Where can they find out this information? And then where do these conferences take place?
Okay. If you look on our procurement page for Montgomery County, the internet procurement page and the solicitations, any of the solicitations that have a pre-submission conference, you can see it there. It gives the date and the time. And all of them are virtual at this point. In the past, before COVID, we used to have them in person, at the actual county department or in the Office of Procurement, but now they're all virtual. But basically, if you see an opportunity that has a pre-submission conference, that's your opportunity to ask any questions that you may have about the actual solicitation. From the technical side, the department folks are going to be there, procurement folks are going to be there, compliance people are going to be there. So if it's a great thing to kind of experience and go through if you are a newer business, just to kind of get an understanding of what exactly the county's asking for. I get a lot of calls from businesses who had just started and they may not have responded before the solicitation. So it's a lot to look at. There's a lot of legal stuff, boilerplate stuff from that talks about insurance and things like that. So that if you don't have an understanding of how solicitation work and what's going on, that's a great opportunity to attend these pre-submission conferences and ask as many questions as you can. And to the extent that they can answer it, the department people, procurement specialists, everyone's there to be helpful and then to give you a better understanding.
Yes, so thank you, John. I dropped a link and John also helped us drop the formal solicitation link in the chat box. So if you click on those, you will see there's a time and date for the pre-submission. They are not recorded. Somebody asked this question because the pre-submission is not an outreach event. You will have to register and download the solicitation to be able to get that link. Or I shouldn't say download the solicitation. We have a e-bidding system that, so you will have to register and through that link under that particular solicitation. So when you are a potential bidder, then you will receive the link to that virtual meeting invitation. That's how you get into one of them. And I would encourage you, even if you are not going to submit a proposal this time, you can also try to go into one of those pre-bid conferences just to see what format and what kind of questions people are asking. And you may be able to find some partners too. There's another question. Will there be another round of Q&A for the website redesign solicitation? The answer were incomplete. I believe they extended that particular solicitation until the 23rd. I'm not aware of another round of conference, pre-submission conference. Usually we'll only do one round. And we did receive hundreds of questions. And I believe we tried to answer all of them. If some questions are still not answered, please reach out to the technical support for that one is from the IT department, Kenneth. I forgot his last name, but it's on the solicitation, or Mary from our side, that's our procurement specialist. Those information are all on that particular solicitation. And Karen, while you're looking for some information for MCATs, if you can also drop some information about this web redesign solicitation information in the chat box, that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Another question, is there a format of Montgomery County follows for bid submissions?
Format, everything should be spelled out. Each solicitation is different as to what a department wants as far as submissions. Maybe Karen can talk about this when departments have mandatory submissions. I guess it all depends on each department and the solicitation. So it's not a generic set thing that we have. Each department has specific things that they want submitted. Can you expand on that, Karen?
I also see Melissa Gardner, who is the Division Chief of Operations, on the call here. So anybody? Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, Michael, you hit the main thing is each solicitation is set up individually for what's expected as bid submissions. You know, if there's a requirement for any of the socioeconomic programs that we have, that will be noted, but also if there's something built within that the department wants to see any particular type of information associated to whatever that need is, you know, it will be stipulated within the solicitation itself. I can't say that there is a regular format, so to speak, that's being used. The primary things that are usually listed out are the MFD, local small business, all of those types of requirements that are usually checked on whether they need to be submitted, but that doesn't mean that the other things could be tied into some of the more detailed information that people are asking for, that the departments are asking for.
Thank you, Melissa. There is another question regarding the pre-submission conferences. Are they recorded and made available to the public? Do you want to also answer that, Melissa?
Sure. No, they are not recorded. That's more on the sense of the best interests of the county in regards to legal purposes. So they are not recorded, but we are happy to accept any questions that may follow. And then again, our process for that is if any questions come in either during the pre-bid or following the pre-bid, we'll make sure to answer those and send them out via solicitation amendment. And then, you know, like Grace said, I think there was a note about the questions for the website redesign not being complete. If that's the case, you know, you still have an opportunity to reach back out to either of the contacts on the solicitation. And if there needs to be, you know, if there needs to be a follow-up solicitation amendment to correct something, to address something people felt wasn't answered, then we can do that as well.
Thank you, Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
One more question regarding MCPS. Oh, Karen, thank you. So MCPS, the question is, do they have their own solicitation procurement process, or do they use the same process and have the same local programs? The answer is they have their separate procurement office and process, and they posted their own solicitations, evaluate their own solicitations. They do not have the same local program or minority programs as we do. They have some inspirational MFD goal for their construction contracts, I believe. But Karen just posted the MCPS's procurement website for you to look at. Let me see if we have any question. Anybody has any more question for Michael Brown for all three local programs?
Yeah, and just to, if I can close this out, and I just want to be respectful of Al's time on the MFD side, but just for me to close out, you know, a lot of people hear about these programs and they say, okay, yeah, that's good, local small, but you know, what type of money is really going? Just to let you know, FY22, $141 million was encumbered to LSBRP vendors. So there are real dollars associated with this program. True small businesses are taking in this money, and you can see, like I mentioned earlier, the goal is 25% for county offices, and we came in overall at 26.2%. So we are meeting that goal in regards to local small business. So I just wanted to put that up there. And the next slide, if we can go ahead and flip it, just kind of gives you an idea of, some of the vendors on that breakdown here. And you can kind of see what some of these opportunities are. We're not just talking about small opportunities out here. They're substantial. You see snow removal, carpentry, there's some engineering drawing, screen printing. So it's kind of all over the place. Like I said, anything that's under $10 million is automatically assumed to be local small business, unless the department can show that there isn't a decent pool of folks out there who can handle this work. But in closing, I just wanted to say that we are here. There's really two different certifications for local that you can jump onto if you are. And also one big thing, if you are a nonprofit. In the past, you could not be certified as a local small business. Now, I believe it's been since 2 years. We do now accept you if you are a nonprofit. So if you are a nonprofit and in the past you looked and saw that you didn't meet the requirements, that has all changed. I strongly encourage you to go into your profile and make sure that you get these local certifications or your LSBRP, whichever one you qualify for. But the door is open and you are welcome. So that is local small business. And I will say, if any more questions you have, just put them in the chat and we'll do it in the general toward the end. But I just want to leave time for Al Boss. But thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Michael. We will be still answering questions in the chat box. Meanwhile, let me introduce Mr. Alvin Boss. He is our minority female disabled owned business program specialist. Go ahead, Al.
Okay, thank you, Grace, and good morning, everyone. I know that we're a little short on time, so I'm going to try to get through this and cover as much information as I can. But I do want to start off with what this program is designed to do. It is designed to assist the certified minority firms in gaining access to prime contractors with respect to them purchasing any goods and or services or subcontracting in any manner with a certified minority firm. So the key here is connecting as well as including the inclusiveness of certified minority firms participating on Montgomery County's contracts. With that said, I want to go into the functions of our office, and basically there are 5 functions that are defined. Function 1 is that we educate to the degree of understanding the procurement process, the MFD process, as well as the overall scope in terms of how this is put together for which you can participate and gain access. We have compliance component. The compliance is the enforcement portion of the program that ensures the integrity of what the prime is reporting to us and them exercising the good faith efforts in meeting the desired goals for a particular procurement category, which I will go into a little bit later. Then there's reporting. And speaking of our goals, we do have it broken down. Construction is 21%. And when we speak of these percentages, these percentages are associated with the life of the contract. So construction is 21% of the total value of the contract for the life of the contract. Same goes for professional services, 19%, non-professional services, 22%, and goods, 10%. So we assist them in meeting their goal by any means that we possibly can with respect to the available opportunities and needs in carrying on the endeavor of the contract. The other component is reporting. I'll get into the annual report a little bit later on, but that's just as important as compliance, because at the end, it will let us know just how well our compliance is going in terms of the inclusion of certified minority firms, as well as their accountability of the prime contractors. We have customer service. This component is that if there are any issues that needs to be resolved between the prime or the sub, or providing assistance in terms of what a vendor needs to do, regardless of this, their status, whether it be non-minority business status or minority business status. If they are looking for a direction in terms of what they need to do in order to participate, we are available to assist in their efforts. And the last one is outreach. Outreach is to assist the prime contractors with a pool of certified minority firms. And where do we get these vendors from? Well, we go to trade shows, we go to events. We put ourselves out there to explain our process, because it's you that makes it worthwhile for us to assist you in gaining the access and the opportunities to participate. I want to go into the MFD process or the cycle, just briefly letting you know what takes place. And these are the dynamics in terms of our program that will have the participation of these firms connecting and networking with prime contractors on contract awards. Specifically, it starts off with how much or what is the dollar threshold for MFD compliance to be in effect. And that amount is $50,000 or more. Any contract $50,000 or more is subject to MFD compliance. Now, again, we have the purchasing categories, but what the prime will be required to do is submit what is called the MFD plan. We call it MFD because I'm quite sure people get tired of trying to, spell this out through their vocal cords, but the Minority Female Disabled Subcontractor Performance Plan. This is a 4-page document, but we're just showing you the front page here where the contractor is required to submit to our office for review, approval, and the execution of MFD compliance. This is a legal document. So therefore, this is part and parcel of the contract. Contract cannot be executed until this document has been approved and the good faith efforts have been exercised in determining have they met or exceeded the goal, or if they didn't, then we must have a justifiable reason that is cogent to the situation for which they can't. The other thing is that we have a legal document. Once the plan is submitted, the plan is approved, and MFD compliance is executed, it just doesn't stop there. We have what is called the MFD payment form. That is a document that goes to the subcontractors or the vendors that prime is doing business with that's listed on the MFD plan. This document is for the purpose of you reporting to us and calibrating, letting us know, keeping us in the loop how well things are going. The prime also will be required to submit to us their reporting documents, or they will go online because we have a PRISM system that they are required to go online, identify the subs that they paid for that period of time for which they receive monies on the contract. We also, and speaking of the MFD plan, at times there are disputes between the subs and the prime. We do strongly recommend there should be something in writing between the prime and the sub that basically spells out the roadmap as to how they're going to proceed and what's going to be done and the manner in which they are going to satisfy the scope of work. This will avoid anything down the road without coming to me. If it comes to me, then therefore I will carry out my due diligence with respect to identifying what the problem is and identifying what viable solutions that we can come to, or both parties can come to. Basically, the initial stages like arbitration, or really putting two people together to stay together, okay? With that said, there is the hope that both firms will be able to resolve their problems, and I will be able to assist them possibly laying out some steps and procedures for which they need to proceed, but compliance is very important. The other thing I want to get into are the certifications and the benefits to these certifications. Okay, as you can see that Montgomery County, first and foremost, does not certify, but there are 6 certifying entities that you see here that are listed that we do accept and recognize. Okay, there are no other certifications outside of these 6 that we do. And as you can see, if there's an interest in wanting to be a certified minority firm and participating in that, then I would definitely strongly recommend that you go to our CVRS, Central Vendor Registration System, and start the application process and go to business classification. And all you be doing for minority certification is scanning and uploading proof of one of those documents or letters that you receive from one of these certifying entities. And as you can see, there's contact information that's there. The benefits to certification. Well, there are several. First of all, you'll be in our database identified as a minority firm with the listed areas that you have put down as it relates to what you're in business for. The other benefit, which is very important, that you get to participate on contracts with primes. You'll be able to gain access through our office, through me, referrals. And by the way, you can say Al referred you. That should open up the opportunities of communications, networking, and building that relationship. Make sure when you do, you be able to zero in what you can bring to the table. This is important because it's their contract and they are on the clock as it relates to what they need to do to get all the documents in, which includes the MFD plan that will be approved and moving forward with the execution of the contract. The other benefit is that I get to not only refer you to primes, okay, but you're able to be referred to them as well and making that connection and exploring these opportunities. I will assist the subs with this connection and with a follow-up, whereas you can follow up with me, I can follow up with the prime, and just to let them know that, hey, we're all on the same page in terms of their efforts in trying to do business with whomever I refer. And that is accountability in terms of what the prime needs to do to demonstrate that they're exercising good faith efforts. Now, the other benefit, Mike had addressed the RFP and the IFP. We have a 4814 law that had provided an incentive. And this incentive is in place for primes to do business with certified minority firms, okay, in winning contracts. Simply saying we have 10 points or 10% of the total points on that request for proposal or RFP. So for MFD participation, let's say the 10% is that of 100, that's 10 points. The 10 points is associated with MFD participation by with the submission of an MFD plan, the Minority Female Disabled Subcontractor Performance Plan, that will show and will obligate and commit them to the goal that they have put down on that plan. To get the 10 points, however, they must exceed the goal. The benefit to the certified minority firm, they will get half of those points, okay? So for example, if the goal is 19%, the non-minority firm is all or nothing, must exceed the goal. The certified minority firm will get 5 points. They will get the other half by exceeding half of the 19% goal or exceeding 9.5% with certified minority firms documented on the MFD plan. So that's the incentive for even a certified minority firm that is participating or competing as a prime to get the other half of the full points by doing business with other certified minority businesses. Okay. And I want to also speak to the annual report. As you can see, last fiscal year, FY22, we did 26.03%. Now, these are dollars that are subject to, and you can see the subject to amount is 816,175,595. The total dollars that were encumbered that went to MFDs or certified MFDs, $212,449,525, or 26.03%. We are constantly working to improve what we're doing and to increase the participation of minority firms. And this is not a bad figure, but it's a figure that we still can use as a basis to continue to take steps towards increasing. And last, I want to speak to, and we're a little over time here, is the disparity study. We currently have a disparity study that is in place. The company MGT of America Consulting is conducting our disparity study. They have conducted one and just finished, I believe, with WSSC. They've conducted one in the city of Baltimore and Prince George's County. And we are looking forward to them with wrapping something up with ours and letting us know where we stand as it relates to our program. That concludes my presentation. I'm going to open up for any questions at this point.
So I don't see specific questions in the chat for MFD yet. But
Good morning. This is Bernard. I have one.
yeah, sure.
As a service disabled veteran, I can register, I guess, in the main database to be seen by Mr. Halvin. How do I get into that database to register as a service disabled veteran? That's my question.
Yes, sir. Real easy. You go to www.mcipcc.net, Central Vendor Registration System, to register your company, basically identifying who you are and what you do. If you hold that service disabled veterans certification, there is a screen that says business classification. You just simply go there, check off the certification you do hold. You're going to be prompted to scan and upload proof of your certification with that certifying agency's document or letter.
From the VA, I have from the VA.
Right, yes.
Okay. The second question is, as a subcontractor, is it the same database? Because I'm interested in being listed as a subcontractor in your database.
Yes, sir. That database serves many purposes. It will automatically put you in the listing of identified certified firms for which a prime contractor can gain access to and reach out. You can also reach out to that prime if you do attend any of the, let's say, pre-submission meetings, especially RFPs or requests for proposals, and start that process. Introduce yourself. Let them know what you can bring to their table. Let them know that that you are equipped to handle that particular portion by you doing your homework and say, yes, I like to bring this into this project, and reach out to all of them. Get that exposure. Getting that exposure, you basically are marketing yourself and letting them know who you are and what you can do. And you can let them know, by the way, you do hold a certification, that is accepted by Montgomery County. But yes, you will go in our database automatically, being a registered vendor, as well as in the category of a disabled owned veteran business as well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So we are 5 minutes over the meeting. We do these open houses every month on the third Wednesday. So you are welcome to join us. I see people have some generic procurement questions. So you can answer all those questions in our open houses. Just to wrap up, there were a couple lingering questions earlier. Our MCATS contract, it's not awarded yet. The department is still evaluating the proposals. We received many proposals, so they are evaluating them. We do not have a time yet, but they have had it for a few months, so we expect to see the proposed awardee list very soon. So for other questions, the web redesign solicitation, Karen did post the 2 email addresses on there. If you have any questions before due date of 23rd, please reach out to those specific people to ask your question regarding the web redesign solicitation. So I don't want to take too much of the people's time. We're already 5 minutes over. Thank you very much. We had more than 75 people online today. So I'll see everybody next month on the 3rd Wednesday on this Zoom meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We will be posting our slides and the recording on our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.